let's come to a more general data type, namely graphs. But let's only look at a very simple, small trick of what you can do with graphs. I think what I've shown you up to now, there's a lot of research and it's kind of very settled that we have good, succinct data structures for these. Graphs are the boundary where it's a bit less clear what the ultimate solution is. It's not maybe known yet. I'm going to show you a simple version of what you can do. Maybe let me just show the animation. I can take a screenshot to remind you what this was about. So what we're gonna do is we take our graph and we take its adjacency string, which is just the adjacency lists of all the vertices concatenated. The vertices have labels 1 up to n. So there's a fixed order in which I can write them down. And make it a bit bigger. Now I'm going to store this graph with two components. One is this string, which is a sequence. And we know how to store that, namely with wavelet trees. So this sequence will store as a wavelet tree. You'll see in a second why this is useful. But the string itself would lose the connection or would lose the boundaries between the neighborhoods. That would just read 3, 5, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4. But we also need to keep in mind when one node's neighborhood ended. And for that, we'll have a second data structure, a bit vector, that is in similarity to Laut's, is just the unary out degree of each vertex. To confuse everyone a bit, is using 0 and 1 in the opposite way. So I put a 1 before the node, before the vertex here, and then as many zeros as it has out neighbors. This you could also do differently, like it's just a convention. But the ones now separate the different neighborhoods. And so you can do rank and select to find your way through the sequence. And with these together, you can answer all kinds of operations on the graph that you might be interested in. Or maybe more fairly, I should say, you can answer precisely the operations that an adjacency list representation could also do. But we're a bit more space efficient. For example, I can take the out neighbor, say, of vertex 2, the second out neighbor, so the 4, right? And how do I get there? Well, first of all, I need to know where does the neighborhood of vertex 2 start. That's the position of this 1. So I'm doing a rank, I do a rank operation on my bit vector for the second one, a select operation for the second one. That gives me a position, and that position minus the ones I have, so minus 2, is the starting position in the string of this guy's neighborhood. And because I want the second out neighbor, I just add 2. So here, select gives me position 4 in the bit vector. Is 1 based here. And then the second one, and then I add, that's the neighborhood. Okay. And I take the second out of these, take the starting position, add 2. And then I can use access in the sequence to read out the out neighbor. Okay, that's kind of easy. Now, I can also ask about the degree of a vertex. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to find this one and subtract their positions. Or I can go to the, that's the easiest. So we find the range by selecting the second one and the third one, and I look how far they are apart. These are my neighbors. And then I get these 3. Now, a bit more interesting is I can also ask for the edges in the opposite direction, which is something normally adjacency lists cannot do for a directed graph. We would not want to store the edges in both directions. But here we don't need to, because the wavelet trees can do that. So for example, let's pick vertex 3 that has some incoming edges. Say I want the second incoming edge of vertex 3 in the order of the vertices. So this should be the one from vertex 2. Okay. Now, how do I find that? Well, if I have an edge 2 vertex 3, that's an occurrence of 3 in the string. So I'm going to use rank on the string with character 3. I want the second. It's a bit clumsy, but so I want the 3. And I want the second incoming neighbor. So I find the second occurrence of 3 in the adjacency string that the wavelet tree can do for me. Now I know where in that string that is. Now, which node does this belong to? Well, I use the bit vector, specifically a rank query to the left of this position gives me there's 2 1s, so I'm in the second node's neighborhood. Right? This is the position. And so I find that this belongs to vertex 2. Okay. So now we can also do edges in the opposite direction. So we can do in degree by just counting how many occurrences of 3 there are. And I can also check if two vertices are adjacent by, this is also cute. So is vertex 2, has vertex 2 an edge to vertex 3? Well, we find where's the neighborhood of vertex 2, the out neighborhood, and we check if in that range there is an occurrence of 4 by asking rank of 4 at the end and rank of 4 at the beginning. If there's a difference between the number of occurrences of 4 to the left of these two positions, then there's a 4 in between. And so 2 has an outgoing edge to 4. Okay. You can play with this a bit more if you want. So just briefly, what have you seen? Wavelet tree over concatenated out neighborhoods. And a bit vector containing the unary out degree sequence. And so we can support in and outgoing edges. Now the running time for this is dominated by what the wavelet tree needs for rank and select. And that is log sigma. Now sigma here is the number of nodes. I can have as many different letters in my string. So here we have a penalty in running time, but we can do this navigation in both directions. And the space we use for that is what the wavelet tree needs, which is all the bit vectors. So n log n plus big O of n bits. And sorry, this is m, the number of edges. The length of s is the number of edges. So I store precisely log n bits is as space efficient as you can be if you have to write down an arbitrary list of edges. And everything else is kind of for free. Note that a standard adjacency list representation is much more wasteful. It would store for every edge a pointer, usually, if it's a linked list. And it may store another pointer per node. It uses something like m log n. That's n log n bits. Okay. That's just one example. In general, for graphs, if any graph is possible, then you can't do all that much better than this. And when you have when you know more about your graph, you can be more space efficient. But that's a bit more of a wide open field, what to do exactly in all cases. I'll leave it with that for succinct data structures. There's a lot more that you can read about for many kind of special case applications. There may be one known, and oftentimes it's not so far to build one if you know your bit vectors well. That's often the core step to know.